Hello there, people of the internet. I'm out here with the 1917 Enfield. This one has obviously been sporterized, but it's still going to serve for representation purposes for making this video. I'm doing a little mini video series where I talk about the history and development of basically everything inside of my arsenal and why they exist and etc. that goes along with those firearms. And well, I'm doing this to try and earn my way up to 100,000 subscribers, so if you want to help me out with that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If this video does not earn your subscription and showing off these right here does not make you want to stick around, then hopefully I'll catch you on the next video, because I'm trying to do this every single day. Doesn't always work out like that, but boy am I trying to do this every single day. So today we're taking a look at the 1917 Enfield. On the last video where I had made with this series, we were talking about the 1903 Springfield. This right here is a 5-shot bolt-action 30-06 rifle that was made by the United States government, actually for World War I. And, well, why would they make the 1917 Enfield whenever they already had the 1903 in production? Well, that is because they technically, sort of, for the most part, already had this rifle in production as well. This rifle, not this exact rifle, but something very similar to this, was actually being produced by the United States government for the British forces. They were making the P-14 Enfield, I think. But the United States, upon entering the war, decided to themselves, hey, we already have the tooling and the capacity to make these rifles. We may as well go ahead and continue to make these rifles. So they rechambered the rifles in 30-06, which was the standard rifle cartridge for the time period, and they continued to use those rifles through the First World War and Second World War, and these rifles served alongside the 1903 Springfield in terms of bolt-action military service rifles for the United States for a very, very long time. And even after the adoption of the M1 Garand, however it is you feel like pronouncing that, even the adoption after the M1 rifle, bolt-action rifles were still being used in service. Both the 1903 and the 1917 were being used very, very regularly in military service. As a matter of fact, it was used, both the 1917 and 1903, used all the way up through Vietnam for an incredibly long time. Now, this didn't have quite as long or quite as glorified as a service life as the 1903 Springfield, which just just got a tremendously good reputation for being an incredibly reliable, incredibly accurate, incredibly capable rifle. Now, in my personal opinion, I like the sights and whatnot on the 1917 pattern much more than the 1903 Springfield. If we're talking about the version of the 1903 Springfield that has the leaf sights, I'm pretty sure that the A4 version, if memory serves me correctly, has sights similar to that of the 1917. It's an aperture sight on the rear of the receiver, which this rifle would normally have. Again, this one has been sporterized, so we do not currently have that. I have this Ruger sight that is crudely screwed onto the receiver on this thing, so I have an aim point, but normally this would have an aperture sight on it, and that is a dramatically I don't want to say superior sight to the leaf sight, but in my opinion I definitely prefer the aperture sight as opposed to the leaf sight, only because I'm blind, and having a sight like this just makes it harder for somebody like me to see and to line up with the target and whatnot. So yeah, definitely not ideal, the setup that I have here with this sporter, but I am trying my best, guys. But as far as the aperture sights go, fantastic aperture sights. I have seen them before in real life. Of course, this sporter I got for a steal of a deal, because the holes inside of the thing are not drilled properly. They have to be completely redone. The bones of the rifle are there, but the rest of the rifle needs some work. So we went ahead and we covered the history of the rifle. It served in World War I, served in World War II, served in Korea, served limitedly in Vietnam. There were a lot of applications for this rifle. Not as popular as the 1903, but is it raining bugs on me? What are you? That's like the 4th bug that's rained on me in the past like 10 minutes from this tree. You guys okay up there? Y'all falling? All right, okay, well, we're just gonna ignore that. The last one was a cow ant. I'm glad I wasn't stung. The 1917 here was pretty much a rifle that wasn't actually supposed to exist. It was just a matter of the United States entering a conflict and being like, hey, we already have this tooling set up because we're making this rifle for this other country, and we know that they like it, so hey, we're going to go ahead and use it ourselves. So they literally just rechambered it for 30-06 and kept basically everything else pretty close to identical. And here we are 100-something years later, and I got myself a sporterized one of these. And I'm about to send a 150 grain projectile into our car down there. Original military loadings were going to be a little bit of an undercharged version compared a version of 30-06 in comparison to the commercially available ammunition out there. In bolt action rifles, that doesn't really matter. But if we're talking something like a self-loading rifle, then you got to pay attention to the kinds of ammo that you use. You don't want to use particularly hot or powerful ammunition inside of some of these old school military self-loading rifles. This one, of course, is bolt action, so we don't have to worry about that. And this isn't a particularly hot cartridge. This is a commercially available Winchester 150 grain soft point. And out of a full-length barrel like this should be traveling at about 3,000 feet per second. Now, normally, this right here would have a tremendous amount of effect onto whatever target it is that we're shooting at, but our target today is a car, so I imagine that it's probably not going to have all that much effect. But boy, oh boy, was that quite the powerhouse to shoot. That was a lot of recoil for a 30-06. Let me have a look at that brass. That felt overpressured. No? The brass is showing no signs of overpressure. My God, that was a potent round, though. And we got some smoke and whatnot coming off of the car, so I guess it did kind of take damage. We have a heat index today of 105 and like an 80% humidity index. It is hot and humid and muggy out here, but I wanted to come out and send that round down range. So hopefully this video has earned your subscription, and hopefully you guys learned something about the 1917 rifles. Basically everybody knows that they exist, but they're completely overshadowed by the 1903 Springfield. And as a result, not a lot of people know a lot about these rifles whenever it comes to what it is that they've seen and done. They were pretty much right there in the trenches and right there along the front lines, just like the 1903 was. And they're just kind of overshadowed and overlooked because the 1903 is just such a spectacular rifle. So it doesn't matter how spectacular you are. If you're second place, then you're going to be not as popular, and this one is in fact not as popular as the 1903. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. I do appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Up next, after this one, I suppose we'll move into the M1 Grand, so that's going to make a fantastic video. I hope that you subscribe and want to stick around for that one, and I will see you guys there. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.